All right, don't worry.
That's a budget.
All right.
Give it mine. Okay.
All right. Good evening, all. Welcome to our year-end meeting, December 28th.
Give it mine.
Please rise and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
Councilman Hanlon,
Here.
Councilman Lewandowski.
Here.
Councilman Niles.
Here.
Supervisor Merlino.
Here. Okay, we're just gonna start off with the resolution to pay the bills. And I'm gonna open it to the public right after I do a couple of little things here. All right, Cindy, you wanna read?
Resolution to pay the year-end bills of the 13th abstract as contained in vouchers numbered as follows. General Fund number 1094 to 1125 in the amount of $24,740.38. Highway Fund number 1126 to 1148 in the amount of $31,769.82. Lake Luzerne Water 1078, 1079, $2,908.20. And Lake Luzerne Streetlights 1080, $5,055.
All right. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 4-0. Next is a resolution to pay Marshall and Sterling Insurance Company for property and liability insurance. The sum of $71,278.54.
Need a motion for that.
I'll make that. Second.
Cindy, what number is that? I'm sorry.
I don't have this
You don't have the number down.
at this point. Motion by Councilman Niles, seconded by Councilman Lewandowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution to accept the resignation of Councilman Fazio as properly sent to the town clerk.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, now I have Northwoods. We're gonna give you a little time to talk. Attorney's here. And then we'll move into the preparing for the agenda for the 9th of January's meeting. You want to take care of this? Rose, you want to speak to us on it? Come on up and talk from the mic so that people out in the cheap seats can hear.
Yeah, I think everybody is pretty aware that we are in need of some repairs to our dam. And in the past, when it was actually the same system was put in that now needs to be repaired, we had come to the town and they had given us a bond, developed a tax district, which we took out a bond, and then we paid them over a course of 10 years. Our reason for trying really hard to get this done this way is that our bylaws, we really are not, we're such an old organization that we don't have the means that current organizations do to, go and get funds. I mean, we have no way really of even enforcing people paying their dues. So we thought this would be a very fair way. Everybody would be taxed according to their property values or whatever. In that anyone that is in the association, and they would all pay their fair share to get it back. I understand there are problems finding the paperwork for the previous tax district. I have shared everything I have. I've spoken to the past president of the association who was there at the time. He has nothing to add, and apparently we've looked everywhere. But we are still quite interested in achieving this goal, if at all possible. Or at the very least, just let's say that it can be done and then we will find other channels. But if at all possible, we'd love to proceed.
Well, just speaking of myself, I won't speak for my board, but we're willing to work with it. It's just, we're working through an attorney, so that's why we're kind of
Sure.
semi left out of it until it's all done.
Mhm.
So a little synopsis of where things are, where they would need to go. There's a couple of moving parts involved and it includes the previous establishment of the district, which as Rich alluded to, there was some missing paperwork. Actually, the documents that we would need to verify that the district was established are things that would be filed with the county clerk. And so the county clerk doesn't have a record of any of the documentation. This is what we have is 1990, 1991, if that rings a bell for you, Rose. As the rough time frame of the last situation that this was addressed.
Mhm.
So the fact that you don't have anything filed in the county clerk is problematic. It doesn't mean that things can't go forward. It just means that instead of going forward on a previously established special district, you'd be creating the district. And to some extent, you may have to take that step, even if there was a previous district established. But the path for getting to where the town would come into play, it's a little bit of a meandering path. It starts off, and we were talking about it at the last town board meeting, starts off with getting an engineer to prepare a map plan and report that answers a couple of questions about the size of the district, the purpose of the district, the extent of the money that would need to be raised to repair or make whatever improvements are necessary. That's how things would kick off.
May I interrupt that we
Sure.
have worked with an engineer? And they've done safety inspections on the dams, spoke with DEC and whatever else, and made an estimate of the cost. So that part is ready to go. They haven't looked into the actual district,
Okay.
but other than that, we have quite a bit of engineering work. done.
Okay, and I think that would be very helpful if the town board moved forward with it. They would have to, the board would have to engage an engineer to prepare the documents necessary to go
Okay, your
this
own
route.
engine.
But the information that you have at least would, I think, give the engineer a starting point or some documentation to kind of get a feel for the scope. And so I think it would be very beneficial if the board's going that route for their engineer to be talking to you or see the engineering reports that you have, or even talk to the engineer that you use to prepare them.
Mhm.
Once that report is established, there's a couple of steps that the town board takes to review the findings and determine if this is in the public's interest to move forward in establishing the special district. Where this all ends up, and like I said, there's a number of steps that happen in between. There's a public hearing, a couple of findings that you make. It goes to the comptroller for their approval. And then, as I mentioned, ends up going and gets filed with the county clerk so that there's a record that you have this district established. But then the last step in terms of the funding and bonding is that the dam parcel would be conveyed to the town. And so that's something that I think the board has to address or consider is where this path is going to lead you is that the town owns the dam parcel. And so you'll be responsible for the whatever annual maintenance or upkeep or DEC inspections or so on and so forth, just like any other dam in the town. That'll be something that the town would be responsible for. Costs associated with it could be dispersed through the special district. But once you go through the bonding process, that the dam is now going to be the property of the town. And so that's something that I wanted you at least to be aware of where this process ends. So that if we take steps to start the process and to walk down the path, you know where it's going to lead to.
First, I heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard any of that. Why do we have to take over the dam? Why do we have to own the dam? That's theirs?
That's
Where does
why
that-
we're only
I have a
charging our
question.
residents, not the
I
whole
just
town.
printed out something. I was thumbing through my computer today. That Cara Road.
Mhm.
Did we all get it?
I passed that on.
Because I mean, it tells you the steps that we have to take, but I didn't read the whole thing yet, but
Yeah, I passed
I
that
don't
along.
understand that part with the dam. That's a very we have enough dams in town that we have to take care of.
Oh, one
You
more,
know,
well,
and
it
if
wouldn't
if
hurt.
you don't do everything to DEC, they come after you, and
When'd you get that, Gene?
I just printed off this afternoon. I was thumbing through some,
Did you get a copy of it? Jim?
Yeah, probably 3 weeks ago.
no, it
Okay.
was from
I
Cara,
hand wrote up on the top 12/6/22 email from Mike Crow,
22,
12/6,
12/6.
December 6th. We talked about this a little bit at our last meeting.
Correct.
Well,
I don't believe this says anything though about the town on.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
I kind of simmered
Sure.
through it.
Well, in order to create the district, the steps in that memo is what outlines the creation of the district. What requires the town having title to the dam is the bonding process. So those are sort of two aspects that intertwine at the end.
Well, quick question. I'm gonna try to work with this group here, the rest of the board. So if we take it over to get it done, once it's done, can we give it back to them?
No, if you bond it, and I don't know if after the period of the bond expires, if then it can be conveyed back out, that would there'd be something I'd check with Hera on. But in terms of initiating the bond and seeing it through the term, the town would have to have title to the property that's bonded.
Really.
Well, if that's the case, and we hadn't had it before, why doesn't the town own it now?
That's a good question, because the deed, there was a deed for it in the 1990s that was never filed. And so that's one of the documents that's not recorded with the county clerk, as well as the final order of the town board approving creation of the district after it came back through the comptroller. We don't even know if it came back from the comptroller approving. And so there are some loose ends there that, it's another moving part that, has created some confusion in a lot of tracking down documents. We've got FOIL requests out to, every state agency to try and track down applications and paperwork and whatnot. But that's a whole nother aspect of this that absolutely needs to be looked into and answered.
If that deed had been filed, who would own it right now?
Town,
So a deed was created but never filed.
correct.
And I've never heard of it.
Do you have a copy of the deed?
Yeah. Yep, we have a copy of an unrecorded deed. It was in part of the paperwork that,
So all the town has to do is go and file that and we own it. That's
I
crazy.
would caution you against that.
But I'm being kind of funny about it, but
Yeah,
it's kind of a wild, off the wall question, but it makes you. It's just, what is that? What weight does that deed hold now? I guess that's my point.
it holds a lot of weight in the context that it was never recorded.
Okay.
So that's the most concerning aspect of the deed,
Mhm.
is that a deed was prepared but never recorded.
Is there a shelf life on that deed?
Technically, there's not. However, for title purposes, I'm not sure that the county clerk has ever been asked or dealt with accepting and filing a deed that's 30 years or so.
So basically, it's where the ball sits is in the court of. Depends what you want to do with it. Either ignore it, don't file it. I'm just trying to, what has already been done, because to move forward on something legally. With some loose ends like that of deeds out there and, you know what I mean?
Right, I think moving forward, again, just going from the hypothetical standpoint that the town board determines that it's going to be in the public interest to move forward with creating the district and then bonding the cost of the repairs. The way forward is to start from scratch on creating district, get the map plan report, have a public hearing, submit that to the comptroller, get the comptroller's approval, file the order with the county clerk, and then have a new deed prepared and recorded as part of the bond process.
How about the bonding company? Do we get in touch with them? Do we have a name that allowed us to have?
No.
Maybe they have,
All that I had was some ledger notes from Colleen that indicated that an amount was repaid. And so I don't have any documentation on what was done for the bonding process. But from what I can tell, again, from those ledger notes, money was withdrawn and repaid. And from what Cindy's saying, it sounds like it was a bond. And I don't know if that was done through the attorney at the time, or if there was an outside bonding firm that was used.
Whose requirement is it? That the town would have to own it? The bonding company, the state, or whose requirement is that?
I don't know if it's any sort of separate regulatory requirement. But I guess typically it's the requirement, I would say, of the lender. So the banks that are issuing the funds.
Yeah, I mean, is that where you were headed, Gene? Maybe we need to talk to another bonding company.
yeah.
I also,
If we have to. go
not
through
real
all
wild
that,
about the
we're
town
not
taking that dam over.
No.
Well,
That we're
that's-
real
And they don't
happy
want
about
us to.
either. Really, that's sort
But
of not,
it's
but-
gonna take a long process then, so
Yeah.
we're not talking 2 or 3 or 4 months.
Right.
We've been
Well,
messing.
that's
around.
been established. We're already at this 2 years and
Yeah,
the
right,
previous
and we're
one took
already at
2
it 2
years,
years, and
so
now
we'll figure
to
another
find
2
this
years at the
information
very
out is,
least, but.
Unbelievable, but
Do you think,
I know Cindy, and I'll give her all the credit. She's went through every piece of paper.
I
We got
believe
in the
it. I
vault
believe
and
it.
every hours spent looking for that piece of paper.
And even as far as I have papers going back to 1930, but there's nothing really, in writing establishing this from the 90s. I got a lot of paperwork, but not really any document that I could file
Mhm.
in the county or
Right.
that has been filed.
Right.
Is it-
Nothing like that.
is it safe to assume that you don't want the town to take that dam over.
At first, I mean, I would have to think it over carefully, but at first glimpse, no, I would not want that to happen.
And it is,
On the other hand, if you pay for everything, but
it is safe to assume that, that the group wants to do the repair and pay for the repair, right?
Right.
I think we should explore another bonding company somehow or two. See if we can do it without titling the dam. And if not, then find out a way to give it back to them as soon as we can afterward.
And that's no different than
and
what
then
happened
what
up
would
there.
we
at-
be giving it to you for $0? You just take it over?
That's the same situation that
Probably
had
$1.
happened up at Pine Hill Colony.
Oh,
The town was supposed to turn that back over
Maybe by now.
where the gazebo was, remember?
Yeah.
And that never happened.
Well, maybe back then their answer to this, because they ran into the same problem, was just don't file the deed.
well.
And then it falls through the crack and here we are today.
I know
Right?
I've tried to speak to our attorney in charge at the time.
History doesn't repeat, it
hung
just
up on me.
rhymes.
It's like, who is this? Click. Don't call me.
I could see that. I could,
Honestly.
just don't file the paperwork.
But I guess,
Loophole.
Jim, the concern would be you'd still have to go through establishing the district.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's understandable.
With the bonding, it's totally against the money, isn't it?
Sounds like it.
The bonding company. Because I was saying, I'm wondering if, since we're basically giving the money to the association, why can't the association bond it?
That's, yeah. That's why the tax district was set up.
Yeah,
Who handles the money? Let's say it goes through, bond is approved.
if everything's done, we do.
It comes
pay
in
the
through
bills.
taxes.
We pay
That's-
the bills,
That's why
People get taxed for it. I mean,
they want the money bonded.
we have to contract the work, and we pay the bills.
it's something, well,
You had a number.
do you have an idea?
Now of 150,000.
150,000-ish. Yeah. Again, that was 2 years ago, but I think that was
Can I ask a stupid question?
a
Mr.
well
Attorney?
padded estimate at the time, so I don't. think
All
it
right,
would-
what would happen if I just had a meeting with the USDA and we were looking into our water systems
Yeah,
and bonding,
yeah.
and they're gonna give us $3 million, not give us, no, I shouldn't use that phrase. But without really problem, it's there, it's a federal money
Mhm.
and to do the water system, so. Why couldn't we check with him and see if we can bond 150,000
There
for
you
them?
go.
And
Yeah.
then do the taxing district,
And their rates are
so you're
competitive.
not with a bank or anything,
Right now, they're at 3.75%.
yeah. There's a bond 3.2 million. I think it's 38 years, it's about $158 a person.
But they would only do a certain percentage, remember?
Yeah.
I forget what that was. Do you remember?
No, I know, I haven't decided, but it's something I'd like to call a bonding company, maybe we should look into. Cindy, we have the one that did our town garage?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, we have, that's the only thing we've ever bonded big like that.
Well, sounds like the ball's back in our court.
Yeah. All right, well, we're gonna have to stay on this, folks. It's gotta be
Guess
taken
so.
care and looked at. But there's a lot of questions that we
No.
never got the answers that we
Here's
really need.
looking,
Mhm.
through
I think
this.
that was the answer.
Just to say we can't do it, that doesn't sound.
Even if you-
Brought right
Well,
back to-
I know it's-
At some point.
It's not.
I think, I know I'm in favor of helping you take care of it.
All right, so
All right.
we appreciate you coming, but next week, I'm gonna look into this a little more myself. And Jim. My partner in crime.
Thank you.
Very bad.
You got anything else?
No,
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Because this is a part of the meeting
Yeah.
that we can ask if you have a question or
Alrighty then.
something about town stuff.
Or the dam or in general?
Let's leave the dam away because we can't give you answers on that. I mean, you want to ask the question? I have no problem. Go ahead.
I'm noticing here that Mr. Fazio is retired or resigned.
He's resigned, yes.
When was this board aware of his first telling that he was not going to be a board member?
I
I
don't know the
believe it was
exact
in-
date, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago.
In September?
I don't think
No,
it's back that far.
No.
No.
no, it was,
Why?
it was very,
Yeah, towards the
Very
end of
re-
November.
yeah, very recent.
I
It
would say
wasn't.
about 5 weeks ago.
All right. Has he still collected payment up until this piece of paper came out and said he resigned?
Yes, that was the following of the attorneys,
So he
we-
collected a month's pay
right?
after the board was aware of his resigning
He did not
He-
legally
legally,
resign.
legally. Because he made a
Yeah,
Because
mistake.
what he could do,
He
because
couldn't do anything about it until legal resignation was sent to Cindy Sherwood so she could pass it on to county.
yeah,
We
And
cannot,
that took how long for him to make that correction?
he could have done it up until his reelection.
no,
So he collected money, a board member's pay. After the board knew he was going to resign 2 months ago and still collected pay.
At that point, Fred, it becomes hearsay.
well, Fred,
It
it's like
wasn't
this.
hearsay because I believe he sent it on a
Email.
email. So
He
that's
didn't-
not hearsay.
No, he didn't do it correctly. You have to, because with this, you have to do it correctly, because if, like, my old job, if I walked out and said, I'm out here, I resign, they couldn't resign me until I did the appropriate paperwork. They say, well, I heard he resigned. No, you can't. He hasn't filed the paperwork yet. I would officially be burning my time. It's the same thing as that. We couldn't do anything about it because the way it's set up, it wasn't anything that was out of the ordinary at all.
It's
at
not
all.
the Ordinary.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? It does
Well,
on
I
the
mean,
surface, but there's
It
nothing
sounds
there.
like he
There's
collected
nothing
a
there.
month's pay.
Yeah, I know.
Uh,
Legally, a
and
board
now-
member
Nobody
legally only has,
Yeah.
legally, a board member only has to attend one meeting
I
a year.
understand that, but
So he was.
not with the
to it.
knowledge of resigning.
Even though we may have had knowledge that where the official paperwork wasn't filed, that's the trigger that stops all that, starts the official process. And we have to follow the official process. And
I
like
understand that.
council,
I
it's like
understand
Paul
that.
said, it's hearsay up until that point.
It took 1 month for that paper.
I know.
to
We
get corrected.
we got a hold of them. We tried to
Sent
get it.
certified Letters.
It is what it
I
is.
spoke to his wife. Several people.
That's hearsay again.
Yeah, it's
I
not to
mean,
him though.
By
What's your
him
point?
doing the email or
What's
whatever
your
he
point?
did.
What's your point?
My point is, he got a check that he
Yes,
didn't deserve when he belittled these women for getting money that they got hourly and said it was too much. Going back 6 months to a year ago.
legally.
Now, here's the
No, he got it
pedophile-
legally. He's just your opinion. I understand your opinion. That's opinion.
I'm defending.
I'm
these
just saying, don't take it. It's not, I'm just saying this. is
Defending
opinion.
these women.
I understand, Yeah, I understand.
At
All
one
right.
point.
Fred,
Fred,
Fred, he sent an email to the town board,
Yeah.
which he thought was sufficient.
Yes,
I stepped in and said, if you're a town official, you have to resign to the town clerk. If you're a county official.
I
you
understand
resign
that.
To the county clerk. He then sent me, because he asked
took a
that
period-
Colleen remove him from the payroll immediately on December 15th.
Yeah, there we
Which
go.
she did,
on December 15th.
yes.
So then, he's got
That's the
2 weeks.
official resignation date right there.
All right.
oh,
But what
that's the
I'm
official
saying,
one, yeah. Fred, just to maybe, I think maybe Cindy could tell me I'm wrong or right. When somebody resigns, you actually have 30 days that you can rescind your resignation. Am I right, Cindy? Isn't that the law? It doesn't happen immediately.
Effective immediately.
Yeah,
It
but-
depends on how you word your
Resignation,
resignation.
okay.
If you don't put a date in there, I believe it's within 30 days. You can't say in June, I want to resign in December. that's too far out. You'd be done in 30 days. Is that correct? I
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
correct.
Yeah, that's what, something like that.
The point is, he got money for what he didn't do.
Well, he would got money if he didn't do it and not showed up anyway. So you're not making a point, Fred. I'm not defending him and it's just that.
It
If
is
he
what
didn't
it
show up
is.
for the whole month, he would have got paid anyway.
Didn't show.
Huh?
Didn't show.
No, he doesn't have to.
Uh-huh. All right, that's just one question I had.
All right.
The quotes for the power system regarding repairs. What repairs on your third thing from the bottom?
What are you talking about?
Review quotes.
Oh, from Kingsley Power System.
Oh, we didn't get to that yet.
Oh,
I'll let you come back. We're still in the upper part where our regular meeting is.
all right, well,
When you get finished, if nobody else has to speak, you can sit.
Get over there, sit down.
I got
Get over there,
in the corner.
in the corner. You're all done.
All right. Anybody else have any questions on the top part of our meeting? All right.
Thank you, Fred.
Now, any questions on the resolutions that are on the paper that you have in front of you?
You do realize my life is short.
You what?
I have to walk back and forth.
Yeah. The questions are on our resolutions. You have any questions on our resolutions? Because there are some additions to these that all came in today, so some of them are not on your sheet of paper, but the one you're talking about,
Third from the bottom.
all right, so yes, third from the bottom, that's Kingsley Power. They're in our packet, we have a quote from them to repair the generators. Some of the generators need odds and ends, so we have to vote on whether we,
We need
Move
a
forward.
couple of new
We're not
belts. We
voting
need a
tonight,
couple of new
right?
batteries.
No,
no.
Oh,
It's general maintenance.
Fred, keep in mind, this is the agenda meeting.
Now it's agenda.
We're just setting the agenda. We're not voting.
You're getting warmed up, Fred. It's in training camp right now.
No, you sit down.
Stay there. So the public will have a chance to comment on that before our next meeting, when we have the facts and
January
figures
9th.
in front of you.
If we go to agenda, you can't talk.
All right, we're going backwards. We're saying that we need the resolution to be prepared for the January 9th meeting to pay the bills, just like we did just when it, so that's all we're doing right now, telling
And Bill.
this is what's gonna come out on January 9th. These resolutions will be written up. This is just to let everybody know what we're talking about. I'm talking about the next one. The resolution doesn't have a number on it for number one's abstract, just like we finished the abstract for this year. We just did it. It goes all is done. Now we need, this will all be on January 9th meeting. This is an agenda. We're putting out an agenda. Oh, okay. You're looking at me like I got, and we're also letting everybody know that we need the resolution on the January 9th to pay the bills for the month that's coming up. So this is only to prepare this stuff. It's not any questions or any of that stuff. There's some other ones that we're gonna have to talk about. In your packet, we have an exemption for firemen and EMS people. We just got it today. It's about 6 or 7 pages. So we're gonna just table it from our conversation until January 9th, so we can read it. Right, that's coming through the state of New York.
Okay.
And now the next paragraph, if there's anything that the board wants to bring up to talk about under the agenda part, that's that last, any other resolutions presented. All right, so. Any gentlemen have any questions? Now I'm going to give you a couple more to think about, but they're all in your packet.
Well, we talked about having a workshop on short-term rentals. I don't know how we feel about that.
Gotta get done. We gotta get this thing finished.
You're also in your packet. We just got it today because today's day came from the county. We're going to put it on our website. County's insisting that now that everybody that's doing short-term rentals have to sign up, and they give them a date, or they'll be, if they're caught, they'll be penalized. It's in your packet.
It is
Yeah,
from the county?
better be.
What's it look like?
What's it look like?
You want me to read it?
You, oh yeah, that's right. You have, I'm sorry, Sandy. I apologize. Cindy's gonna read it to you.
Warren County requests short-term rental owners register for occupancy tax collection. Deadline to pay 2022 occupancy tax is January 20th of 2023. The Warren County Treasurer's Office is asking owners of properties used for short-term rental who have not registered under Warren County's occupancy tax law to do so as soon as possible. Warren County's been working with a contractor to identify properties that have not registered as required by law to collect the county's 4% occupancy tax fee on overnight stays. 931 properties used for short-term rental have registered with the Treasurer's Office, but hundreds have not. We thank the property owners who have worked with us as we register short-term rentals to pay their fair share of occupancy tax under the occupancy tax law. And we ask those who have not contacted us yet to do so to avoid possible penalties for non-payment, said Warren County Treasurer Michael Swan. In addition, the Warren County Treasurer's Office is reminding owners of property that collect occupancy tax in Warren County that the deadline to pay the 2022 occupancy taxes that they have collected is January 20th of 2023. About Warren County's occupancy tax, proceeds from this tax go to tourism promotion. Those who stay at hotels, motels, bed and breakfast, and short-term rentals are required to pay as part of their booking. Those who own or operate short-term rentals in Warren County are required to register with Warren County, even if their rental property, such as an Airbnb or VRBO, claims to be collecting occupancy tax, as the owner is required to ensure that it is paid to Warren County. Short-term rentals are defined as a rental of 30 days or shorter. Penalties up to 5% plus interest can be imposed for non-payment by property owners under the Warren County occupancy tax law. And then there's a website that you can go to with questions. Also contact Treasurer Swan.
And we're gonna put some of that up on our webpage.
I never got a copy of that.
No,
Did you give us copies?
no,
Cindy?
Ah,
I thought I did. I have it in my pile. I just, I have it right here. Well, we're not doing anything on it, but putting it on our website and letting you know about it.
I'd like a copy of that letter, please.
Yeah, me too, please.
We'll get it today before you.
But anyways, I brought up whether we're gonna have a workshop.
right.
Okay.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday.
Keep it to Monday.
Keep it on a Monday. No,
That's the first. That's New Year's Day,
Monday is the second.
the second rather. Yeah. The first is
the 9th is our normal meeting, correct?
We're doing
Yes.
something, we're doing something the second, aren't we?
Organizational day. aren't
The
we?
organizational,
The second,
and
11
then
p.m.
the 9th is the regular meeting.
Hmm.
Shall we go for the 16th? That's Monday.
Sounds good to me.
And you got anybody? You got
My
any?
thing, I don't know if this matters, my gizmo here says that that's Martin Luther King Day,
Okay.
What day is that?
16th.
16th?
Gizmo, that's technical term.
Well,
Cell phone.
now that you pushed it, it does say that.
We're gonna do it that Tuesday.
And then the
17th?
23rd is our agenda meeting. Why can't we have it on Martin Luther King Day?
Well, it will be a holiday if anybody's not gonna be available.
So it's okay with me.
I mean, we can work on it. It's okay with me that Monday or the Tuesday.
You have a problem with it?
I got a problem working Monday. I got something to do Tuesday, so.
You got
I'm all right with one day.
16? Let's do it.
What time you want to do? it?
7 o'clock,
Huh?
7 o'clock.
7?
On the 16th, is that when we're going?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Yes,
Huh?
Oh, on the 16th.
yes, 16, 7 PM. I don't have any new material.
We just finish out what you got.
Okay,
All right, let's move along here.
that's all I got.
All right, so we answered the questions on the Kingsley. The thing that is in your packet about the EMS and fire getting a tax exemption, we can table that. So
That's the thing for Melissa.
yeah, that's from Melissa today.
We gotta read that.
Oh, the other thing that's in your packet is, we're gonna put on the, for a resolution on our next board meeting. Well, I gave you all a folder the other day. And that's in the folder.
Great.
It's not in my folder. It's the resolution from the county on where we're gonna get rid of all our waste.
So spreadsheet,
Yeah, this
this thing.
that's it.
That's it, all right.
I do remember seeing that.
Paperwork.
And I think we ought to be pushing forward. If you look at their rates and everything, so much of it is cost of hauling it. I think it's a possibility. I know we've discussed it before. But I think it's time with the increasing cost of that, you could be looking for possibly a good used or new roll-off truck. Not fixing the one down there, which we've already has been determined is worth fixing. Okay. And going out to bid possibly in the near future on a roll-off truck capable of taking care of our waste. The cost that I've read on this is pretty substantial over a course of a year. And it all's got to do with hauling costs. If you're putting out $25,000 to $30,000 a year in hauling our garbage, you can bond for a new truck for the same amount.
I don't disagree with you. I brought that up a year ago, but
Yep. Because if you look under Lake Luzerne, C&D hauling, $315.90 just to haul it from here.
What's C and D?
Okay,
that's
that's building materials,
building.
tires,
Tires are
$17
separate.
each.
There, yeah, we have the number
Truck
now,
tires,
22.
22 each. Newspapers. $75 a ton plus $187. So you can see the cost of hauling could be very well generated by putting a man in a truck that we already own and we already have men to be able to drive that. Because I don't think there's a man in this darn town that works for us presently wouldn't mind taking a Saturday afternoon drive over to the county to get rid of a dumpster. That's what it basically comes down to. And it would be cheaper than
Can you
that.
get bookkeeping to throw some numbers together for us?
What do you think about that, Ron?
Over time, that probably will be.
It's an expense upfront.
Yeah. Yeah. it's gonna be a
We'll
few-
take it out of your budget, okay?
No.
All right, we'll look into that.
I would have to say you might have to hire someone.
Huh?
You might have to hire someone to run that truck.
Why?
Because you got a very select few over there at CBL. Actually, Brian's just about getting his, isn't it? Isn't he?
Yeah.
So just another thing to think about.
Well, let's start by getting how much it's costing us now. I'm gonna exaggerate. If it's only $5 a year, then we know it's not worth doing. But if it's up there, then we look a little deeper into what the,
I probably wouldn't, I would search for a good used one. That's what I would do.
yeah, but let's figure out first how much it's costing us now. So we start with that information. That should be fairly easy. Was it a check to the county? Is that a check we pay to the county every month or whatever?
No, yeah, well, we pay it. This is just the contracts the county sent out, and these are the bids that came in.
So
that
can
they
you,
accepted.
can you ask Colleen to put together, like, the last 2 years, how much have we paid in all of this?
That's easy to find out. We have that. All right. We'll have that for the January 9th meeting. Okay, the only other, another thing we have here, let me just go down here. We did the short term. In your packet, I think I put it in there. We have 4 signs. I brought it up at the last month's meeting, but we really didn't do anything about it. From Tim Rodriguez, who does all our signs, makes them and paints them. There's 4 of them that need repair, touch ups. He wants to do one at a time, probably take one down, do it. So I had him give me 4 separate invoices. And the whole total comes out to $1,900. One is for 400. One is for 600. That's both sides. That's a sign out front. They need touched up, get painted. Another one's 400 and one.
What about, are both the beach signs,
Hmm.
public beach signs gonna get done too? The one of the Knicks at the Wayside Beach,
Oh, we
that
didn't-
one's horrible,
Yeah, I don't know.
missing letters and everything, and
Yeah.
Tim
They gotta be
Rodriguez did
done.
it.
And this money doesn't come out of our budget. We take it out of the op tax money because
Okay.
it's advertising.
I think that's on at the beach, you need to update it.
Oof, rough, missing letters and everything. else.
Yeah,
All right, so I just want to let you know that so we can move ahead on January
I was
9th.
in,
We don't
I
let
was
it
in
get
Eastern
going.
Europe when I looked at it, it was missing letters, I thought I was in Poland or consonants everywhere.
The only other thing now, the only other thing that I'd like it tabled so we can work on it with the attorney. He sent out a proposal for rebidding of our attorney fees. And when we went over it, and I know I went over a couple of you gentlemen. The increase is about $12,000 roughly. So we're looking to see, we can get a full report, what everything is gonna entail. One of the questions that came up, and I couldn't answer it, was the billing for an attorney. Is it from the time you leave your house till you get home, or is it from the time you're here and you leave here? Is there a, if you live, 2 miles away, 5 miles, then?
Right, so I think one of the options that we had was just an hourly rate,
Right,
right? And so that would be based on any time that's worked, for example, researching stuff in the office in terms of meeting time, it would be the time actually present here at the meeting.
here at the meeting only.
Right.
Okay.
that's the answer.
but again-
That's why we'd like it get written down in a whole because you only sent me just a quick email on it. And the email just tells me the first option is to leave it at 3,000 a month. But limiting the scope of work to 2 meetings. Right now, this year, you had 3,000 a month and you did 4 meetings,
Right, or 5 or more.
or whatever the case may be. And then the second option was to move everything to 4,000 a month, But that makes the contract $12,000 more,
Right.
$48,000. And the third option was to go to $160 an hour complete, but that's kind of, I never liked that kind of a contract. That's just me, I'm talking.
Yeah.
I don't know what the gentlemen say. Because that leaves it wide open for hourly. It's tough to clock what hours and stuff that's being done. Just trying to keep the budget under control. So I don't know if anybody else has anything to say on that, but we just like a form.
So the $3,000 or $4,000 proposal is for the meetings, includes travel and whatever.
The flat fees, yeah, it would be whatever work we're doing outside of the meetings. So whatever research, preparation,
That's
Um,
extra.
no, preparing documents, all that in a flat fee, it would be all of that stuff is included in the flat fee.
Okay,
Okay, that's what we're looking for, Mike, is
yeah,
a breakdown.
Mhm.
Okay, your hourly fee is this, and it includes this, not this. Second option, this and this. If you would break that down for us, so we have a better understanding of how it is actually set up,
Okay,
and
okay?
also state that if we went to strictly hourly, which I agree, I'm not in favor of. But if we went strictly hourly, the meetings would be billed for your time here. Travel time would not be billed.
correct.
And that'll include at least 4 meetings, what we have now.
Well, I mean, if it's
Because
If you
it doesn't say here, that's,
well, that's the point of going hourly is then you dictate how much you want the attorney involved. And so if you think this is something that we can prepare, or this is a meeting we don't need the attorney at, you save money. So you can come in at under $3,000, depending on how you want to allocate the resources. If you want us at every meeting and you want all the stuff prepared, that's where we came in at either a flat fee or an hourly rate. And so
Okay.
I guess, I can further break
So-
that down.
So if we went to strictly an hourly rate,
I have
Oh,
a question.
not only would he have the hours that he's here at the meetings, he'd also have the hours preparing for the meetings.
That is why, if you look at the sheet I prepared for you, at the bottom, it states that.
I have a question. What about the planning board and the zoning board meetings? How does that fit into this fee schedule that you're giving them?
If the proposal to keep the flat fee, to go the flat fee route and to keep it at 3,000, we attend 2 meetings per month, and that would be up to the town board to determine, okay, these are the meetings to attend. And so if it was that to attend the planning board and not the zoning board, or 2 town board meetings, I guess it would require some communication in terms of what meetings would be prioritized that you need an
Well-
attorney present for.
All I can say to the board is keep in mind that both of my boards like the attorney present at their meetings.
and the one proposal, which I didn't finish saying, the other 2 meetings would be charged at $500 flat charge,
Or.
or
hourly
$160
rate.
an hour.
Well, just keep in mind that both boards like to have him present at the meetings.
Having been the chairman of the zoning board for a couple of years, I would concur.
So those 2 is the second choice is $4,000 straight, and it's a $12,000 increase over this past year. That's all I'd like a little more information on exactly what we're gonna be paying for.
Gene, you got Matt.
Yes, sir.
Gene, I'm watching, and as the chairman of the zoning board, I would like to reiterate parents' concern, I would like to see counsel at the zoning board meetings.
Well, we're not talking about eliminating, we're just talking how we're gonna pay for them.
I understand that, but if you stay with the flat fee of 3,000 and 2 meetings a week, and there's a town board meeting, that leaves one of us out.
No, that's not what we're saying. The proposal is stay at 3,000 for only 2 meetings, plus all the other work they do. If we go to zoning and planning board, it'll be extra $500 for each one of those meetings. We're not eliminating anything.
Then
Yeah.
if you're going, if you're going to go to an extra $500 for the zoning and planning, wouldn't it make more sense to go to the 4,000 and no limit on the meetings?
We don't know. It does not.
It does not say that. That's
I'm
what,
sorry, I thought that's what it said.
no, it just says option 2, 4,000, and that's all it says per month. So I added up 4,000, 500 plus the 3,000 is 4,000. So the meetings are included, but it doesn't say anything else. And then they have an option to go completely to 160. So it's confusing. I'm sorry, I'm a confusing person, but I have to make a budget up. And I'm not happy with this, the way it came in. I had asked for it, and it was way past our budget time. With this 48,000, it's more than our budget is prepared for this year. And that's why I'm curious. We got this, right at the end, beginning of December after we approved the budget. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
All right, so
No.
we just, within the next week till next week, let's get a heat down more. We don't have to have all the do's and the don'ts. We just have to, the money section.
Okay, I'll give you whatever other information I can pull together on it and,
Well, that's the question, because it's just
Okay.
not stipulated about travel time, whether you get it from. time you leave
40-some
your house to get
thousand
here,
dollars last year.
or
legal
just the
fees.
2 or 3 hours you spend here.
Averaged
Because
out.
I'm be honest with you, you lose money.
There's no average.
well, we're losing money now, which is why we can't go.
It was a flat
You
rate
guys
last
run your
year.
Business,
Yeah,
So,
no,
you know
I
that.
understand that. I understand that now.
you gotta adjust.
Well, it'll be something like the board members say we should have on a zoning and planning. Our option was maybe there's some meetings we don't need an attorney. And there's some meetings that, like when they have a public hearing or there's a problem or something, then we would need.
Right.
As I talked to supervisor up in Warrensburg, they basically sometimes don't send an attorney to the a certain board meeting or planning board
Right,
meeting.
we have,
We don't need them at our agenda meetings, because if we do anything, it'll come up when we put it on the floor. So,
Hey, we're asking for just a breakdown.
yeah, that's
Okay.
all, that's all.
what would you like to see? Gene said travel time. Is there anything else that you'd like to see specifically addressed?
Like I said.
4
let's say-
meetings a month, how much is that?
Yeah, option number 2. Second option would be to keep it the same scope of work for $4,000 a month.
What
That
does that
doesn't
mean?
tell me enough, Mike.
Yeah,
This is
I
what
don't,
I'm
I don't,
saying.
I don't know what you mean by that either.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I mean, right now, the scope of work is, more or less, every meeting or any time that there's a meeting.
That's what we want. I want it broken down, please.
Sure.
Okay,
Mhm.
last. Option number 1, keep it the same fee structure at 3,000, limited to work, 2 meetings, yada, 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 okay? Well, I didn't know if this second option was based on the first option. You see what I'm saying? Because it says the second option would be keep the same scope. Well, I don't know if the scope meant what you said in option number 1, or you got a different scope, or we're using the scope we got today.
Right, current.
That is correct. Well, let's get it in black and white for us, okay, bud?
Got it.
Thank you.
All right, the only other thing, just a little more, some little stuff here is, talked about the signs, short-term rentals, buildings and grounds. I think I put it in your folder. Buildings and grounds wants some surplus, some equipment they have there that they're not using, and that'll be on the January night resolution. If I didn't put it in your packet, I will get it.
Yes.
But I think Colleen mailed,
Everybody got one, but
yeah, Colleen mailed it, or we gave it to you. So,
Put up for bid, that means,
put up for auction.
oh, yeah.
and we'll get. the-
Ron, you got anything you want to add on that this time
I'm one, and I'm one.
to get rid of,
Uh,
except maybe a couple of helpers?
no, not right at this moment.
No,
Well, you have until, no, about a week before the meeting in January 9th, or a couple of days at least, so we can get it done to the attorney. Or you can do it at your own time,
chainsaws,
but
miscellaneous.
it's easy if we have more, and when we put it out in the paper, then, you know, 2 now and then 2 then.
I mean, they go surplus them through the, at auction site.
Yeah, something, one of those. I'm gonna ask you about where the best place to go, because I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. And I think that's all we have.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, Rose and your team had to come down, maybe a little disappointing, but we'll try to get better answers. I think we got to get more involved in it.
Stay honest.
All right. That's about it, gentlemen. Have something I have to ask you, because I have it written here. All right, need a motion to, oh, anybody have any?
I don't get,
No.
What?
You're doing
This is
it.
agenda, there's no more questions. Go ahead, Ron.
yeah, I got something down here.
No, what do you can't have anything unless it's gonna be a
Here it
resolution or
comes.
something.
Here it comes. We'd like to have the resolution to order a new truck.
Oh, boy, here we go.
That new truck is not gonna be built until 24-25. So I wanna get in line and get this going. So when it does come that time, we'll already have it in process. I have a quote from Tracy Road, staying with Western Star, so we can standardize. It's off Onondaga contract, so it does not have to go out to bid. The Chad and Cassie is 165,000. And the dump box and plow and wing and all that. It is 116,000.
300.
I will photocopy these and put them in each of your boxes.
That's-
Is
That's
that
not-
plow coming with the live edge?
No, it doesn't, so.
So we gotta throw another what, 5,000 into it?
Live edges are 18,
18 and 20.
so these one ways on these are about 6 or 7,000.
You
When
expect,
when we
do you
do,
expect the truck is gonna die? So this ultimately is a replacement or is it
This-
adding?
this is gonna replace a 98 single axle that we're still using. And we're still putting money in it, cause I had to buy push pull cables today. Cause the ones that are on it are original and they stopped working for us, so we can't pick up the plow or set it down or. And they are, I think, $700 or $800 for them. So,
Well, this is reasonable, Ron.
Ron, how many big
This-
trucks do we own?
I mean, big trucks, tandems?
Yeah.
4.
4.
Yeah.
I know down at the firehouse. They set up a time schedule. In regards to replacements. Like if that truck you're buying right now comes in, say next year. You know, in 10, 12 years, that's gotta get replaced.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how the fire department set up their redoing their trucks and saying the oldest truck will be 20 years old before we get rid of it. If there's something like that, you could set up for us. So we can start managing that aspect a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Get out ahead of it.
I gave you my list today of Well, I would like to see done in the next 10 years. So.
You did give us a list?
Yeah, there's a box out there.
I didn't get that either.
Should go in and get it for the meeting.
Did you get your stuff out of your bags?
Cindy, when I came in this afternoon,
It wasn't in there. He came in just before the.
There you go. There it is, right there. Have it. There you go. Slippery down there. In and out.
All right, anything else?
So,
It's reasonable because we had the program for the last 15 years to buy a new truck every 5
yeah,
years.
we're trying.
So,
Put some dates on here,
When this does.
approximate dates.
When this does come in, we take out a loan and we don't pay for a following year. So by the time this is first payment, our F600s will be paid off. So.
That's the way that's the way we've had it for the last
Yeah.
15 years,
It's,
every 5 years.
I think we need to jump on this. We jump on it now. Because of
Bottom line.
supply chain issues, they're coming along right now. That's happening. So we wouldn't be able to get a bill date on this until 2024.
Okay, but do they need a deposit or anything for that?
I don't think so. I think
I'd-
just a
I'd like to
commitment letter.
Yeah. You find that question out if we can put a deposit down on that.
Okay.
Because some of it could come out of ARPA money and we'll put it aside and get it done.
Or if we
Right.
do have to have a deposit, we just have, like you said, just put her a commitment letter.
Well, instead of doing a deposit, can we do the equipment fund?
that's what I'm
And
talking
Just like the
about.
firehouse does. They start
That's
a little bit.
Yeah, but that's different money than I'm talking about. ARPA money has to be spent the next year.
I would like to start a capital equipment fund.
Should.
There should be an equipment fund set up for
Yes.
any of the big
Yes, I do
equipment.
too. I mean, Linda, she always liked to do loans and all that. I mean, but it is nice to put a big chunk down on a vehicle here and have good equity in it. So maybe at the time we do get rid of it, it does have good equity. You know, so I think we need to change our ways a little bit. Every year, I save money and it would be nice to put a chunk of that into that. So maybe I can buy an excavator with a ditch and bucket with cash, not even have it long, you know?
That's correct.
Save the taxpayer.
All right, Ron, that's it.
Yeah.
What else you want?
Anybody else on the board have anything? Cindy?
His microphone pointed
Well-
out there. He's gonna.
How we put the resolution together, I mean, I don't think that was,
No, everything we talked about, they'll put the resolutions and send it to the attorney and he writes it up.
okay. I didn't hear that, but that's fine with me.
Because we're only talking about what we want
I
on the
know.
resolution
Almost happy.
for January 9th. I mean, we know we gotta do the general fund money and the highway and water. That's a given.
Ron, can you put some, like, what year you think you might need to do these things on here?
I can. It was
I know it's, hard.
kinda hard.
It is, but it's better than not doing it. You know? A couple of these are,
I mean, like the second item there, the truck. I just talked about, I mean.
yeah,
It's gonna be 3 years from now. before
Yeah.
that. But the water department, we need to do that as.
but there, all I'm saying is there needs to be some kind of logic to plan on. I'm just making this up, 200,000 next year, 100,000 the year after, 400,000 in 3 years,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's gonna change, I realize that. but
yeah. Yeah, I can put years, you know.
As best you
like
can
to have
guess,
it happen, but like now,
as best you can guess.
okay.
All right.
Make a motion?
adjourned?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Before we adjourn, I
Just
just like
need-
to
I
say
have
one
one question
thing.
I gotta ask you.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Um,
How's your husband, Rose?